Hello everybody, welcome back to CJ's Card Corner. Today I want to talk baseball cards. Today I want to talk hype cards and what we do when the hype actually rolls around. So in a previous video, I talked about when to buy and when to sell. You can go check that out, it's on my channel. And I talked about some of the best times to buy, which is, your off season and all that jazz, and then some of the best times to sell. Well, we are in one of the hottest points of the selling market right now. So you are walking into some of the biggest, most watched times of the hobby that you're going to get anytime that isn't like the World Series, right? So let's talk about a couple players today that are obvious hype guys. So the first one is a really simple one that I did a short on yesterday. Let's talk about Konnor Griffin. Because everybody is talking about Konnor Griffin. So I had 22 cards of Konnor Griffins on my store when yesterday's spring training game started. And after he hit both of his home runs, all of those cards are now gone. They weren't super high end. I had a couple authentic autos and a couple pro debut autos, but literally every single one of my Konnor Griffin cards that I had listed on my store was sold yesterday. Why? Well, he hit 2 home runs. Hype. All we're talking about here is people don't want to miss out. It's heavy duty FOMO and heavy duty hype. This guy's got major power. This guy's going to be great. Well, yeah, we were saying that months ago. We were saying that in July of last year that Konnor Griffin was the next big thing. Everybody was talking about him as the #1 rated prospect. And then now, he was at the top of Baseball America's list. He was at the top of MLB's list. And then now he hit 2 home runs, one off Ranger Suarez right away today against the Red Sox. Everybody knows that this kid's going to be great. Now is not the time to buy his cards. You missed the boat. That's okay. It's okay to miss. Now, if you want to overspend, that's also fine. It helps people like me sell his cards. And I have no problem selling his cards. I put them on my store for a reason. I put them at a certain price I was happy to sell them at. I made a generous profit. I'm happy to walk away on those terms. Now, his cards may continue to rise if he has a great spring, if he makes the roster. The hype train may keep going, right? But I want to be extra careful and not lean into that hype on the buying front. Now, I understand the hype and I'm all for it. I have him on a bunch of my fantasy rosters. I believe in the kid. I think he's going to be a great ball player. But I also know when to ride the hype and get out. So I did. Now, if you want to continue to buy, by all means do so, but you're buying at a more expensive price. I would rather spend those hobby dollars somewhere else to buy into a different hype player, which I'll talk about in a different video. So let's, now we've talked about Konnor Griffin, let's talk about the next big one that everybody's talking about. Carlos Lagrange. Hottest name out there right behind Konnor Griffin. He pitches for the New York Yankees and he struck out Aaron Judge once. He throws 100 miles an hour. He's got a plus slider. He's a good pitcher. I would argue there's a somewhat decent chance he ends up being a really good closer someday. But I don't know if he has the command to be a good starter. Now, I could be wrong. But in January, before all this stuff went down, before he struck out Aaron Judge, before the hype was real, you could buy his Bowman First autographs for $50. You could buy his parallels, his out of 99s, his out of 150s for right around 100 or 150. Now, the Bowman First autos are $100 for the chromes. The parallel autos are astronomical. They're $250, $300, in some case $500 or $600. The hype is extreme. If I'm you and I have his cards, I'm selling them right now. Unless you're a big Yankee fan and you think he's the second coming of Paul Skeens. But there was hardly any prospect hype around this guy before this. We weren't really talking about him in prospect circles. His cards were relatively cheap. You could buy them all over the place. They were readily available. Now we're talking about them doubling in price in less than a month. And I don't see an end in sight if he keeps pitching well. But I think he's going to go back down to the minors. So I'm not buying right now. I'm not leaning into the hype on him. I did sell a couple of his Bowman autos actually a little bit before this, so I maybe missed the boat and sold them a little too soon. But honestly, I don't believe the hype right now, and I don't think I'm buying in on him. Not to say that you can't, but for me, it's not for me. Let's talk a little bit about the injury players. So Corbin Carroll went down a little over a week or so ago with a broken hamate bone. It's a big deal. He's going to miss probably a month of the season, maybe longer, depending on how he heals and how well he does in his rehab. It's a bad injury in the sense that a lot of players that have talked about it in the past say that it saps their power. They maybe aren't the same for a while when they come back. I think Francisco Lindor is dealing with the same injury. So I would say you have to kind of look at his information and decide what you want to do, right? So with Corbin Carroll, he was a 30-30 guy, won Rookie of the Year a few years ago. A good player, solid, has been around for a few years. He plays for the same team he played with. He hasn't been traded. They still need him, and he looks like a good, solid player. I personally I'm going to continue to buy his cards. I'm going to continue to sell his cards. I think he's still a good buy, especially if you can get his autographs or his rookie autos for a good price. I would say this injury doesn't scare me too much. But the nice thing is this time of year when he has this type of injury, his cards get a little cheaper. I did buy a few of his rookie card autos for about $50 less or so about a week ago. And I'm excited to have those in my store and in my collection. And I think that his cards are undervalued because he doesn't play for the Yankees. So, yeah, if he can go 30-30 again, I think that his cards will continue to sell really well and do really well. And I would continue to buy in on him and see where it takes you. So today I talked about hype guys that I'm staying away from and selling rather than buying. And then I talked a little bit about Corbin Carroll and an injury player that I think is a good buy because you're going to get their cards a little bit cheaper. So if you're looking for more information like this, I'm going to have a lot of this kind of stuff on my channel. I'll probably do whatever kind of pops into the old noggin for a while. If you have any comments, I'd love to hear what you think. Are you buying Konnor Griffin right now? Are you buying Carlos Lagrange and some of these players? I'd love to hear it. Comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I really appreciate you stopping by and checking out my videos. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks a lot.